We're here with Daniel Hannan, and he's with the Conservative Parliament. He worked hard to accomplish Brexit, and for that we want to congratulate him.
Thank you.
We would like your opinion on trade tariffs, which is a topic I think that you have been speaking on.
Yeah, I mean, we've just had this extraordinary announcement from Donald Trump that he'll be putting up tariffs on steel and on, as we call it in the UK, aluminium. And it's terribly important to understand that this is a very job-destroying policy. There may conceivably, and even this isn't certain, there may be some saved jobs in the narrow field of metal making. But there are many, many more jobs that use metal. And so there will be jobs lost in construction, in manufacturing, in the automotive industry, everybody who uses metal, which is pretty much everybody. Right? If you own a steel mill, great. If you're anybody else, any American consumer who buys things with metal stuff in, this is very bad news. Now, what's been the response of the European Union? They want to do something, as they put it, literally as they put it, equally stupid. Jean-Claude Juncker said, if you can do stupid, we can do stupid. We're going to start banning your things. In other words, you want to hurt your consumers? Well, we're going to hurt our consumers. How do you like that? This is the craziness of tariffs. Even if you don't get the retaliation, it's bad news. But it triggers this reaction in other people who then want to damage themselves as well.
So the tariffs are just a tax on the consumers of that product to supposedly benefit a special interest group. And as you mentioned, people can follow the example of being stupid.
Well, right, it's always the group that is politically connected that benefits. So one way to think of tariffs is that it transfers wealth from the startup, the entrepreneur, to the politically connected vested interest, especially one with heavy industrialized and unionized labor. It transfers wealth from new industries to old ones. And it transfers wealth, frankly, from the poor to the rich.
Right. So this is one of the problems with understanding this is that the pain of the tariff is very diffuse. It's spread around everyone. So everybody suffers a little bit. But when you add it up, it's much more than the gain that the special interest groups gets, right?
You put it very well. The problem, free trade brings dispersed gains, concentrated losses. Tariffs, the other way around. So, right, I mean, consider, let's take it away from steel for a while. Sugar in this country is about twice world prices, okay? Why? Because there are some politically connected sugar cane growers who happen to be concentrated in an electorally key swing state, namely Florida. And so they give a lot of money to both parties, as well as on lobbying generally through their PACs. And both parties sign up to giving them protection, tariffs, quotas, and all the rest of it, which has been happening actually pretty much since the foundation of the Republic.
Yeah, since I've been interviewing about 30 years ago.
Right. I'm actually, you know, unless you've been interviewing, you know, since the battles of Brandywine and Germantown, I think even longer than that. So, but why does this happen? Because everybody else loses. All right. The confectioners lose, the candy makers relocate to Canada and Mexico. There was a Peterson study of this that showed that at least 6 and possibly as many as 17 jobs are lost in food processing for every low-paid job propped up on a sugarcane plantation in Florida. Why does it happen? Exactly for the reason you gave. Dispersed gains, concentrated losses. Those sugarcane growers who are politically connected know who they are, vote accordingly, donate accordingly, whereas all the jobs that would come into existence if sugar fell to world prices are held by people who don't yet exist and therefore can't vote.
So let's break it down for the audience, why trade is beneficial to both parties. Your compatriot, in the Wealth of Nations, put it very well and explained comparative advantage. But before we get to comparative advantage, I would like to, I was referring to Adam Smith, before we get to that, of the economic theory of comparative advantage, which I think set the world straight on this issue. When you go to the grocery store, you trade your work, which is represented by the money that they gave you, for certain items that you'd like to ingest, milk and bread and meat and whatever else you eat. And so that's beneficial to you, and it's beneficial to the grocery store, right? Because if you had to make your own bread, get your own meat, and bake your own, milk your own cow, you wouldn't have much time to do hardly anything
Right.
else, and you wouldn't be able to even buy a shirt.
Right, and that's why it's so strange to be fretting about trade deficits in the way that Donald Trump does, right? I have a massive trade deficit with my grocery store. I import loads of stuff from them. I don't export anything to them. They're getting all my money, right? But who's getting the better end of this deal, right? Think of all the work that goes into what I'm buying for them for a